welcome to Unclouded Eye. I'm Ashley Brooks.
And I'm Ty Gowan.
And we are your source for a weekly astrological forecast.
And cosmic chit chat.
Yes, lots of it. We've got chit chat.
And terrestrial chit chat too.
Yeah, cosmic on this earth.
We got it on Chiron and beyond.
Yes, Chiron and beyond.
Chiron and beyond is what my Buzz Lightyear slogan would be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In case you're new to this podcast or just missed it, Ty is Chiron's biggest fan.
I literally didn't know that what she was up to until we started this podcast, and now I'm all about her.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Chiron.
We're
the
into
myth,
it.
the legend.
The healer.
Yeah, the wounded healer.
The wounded healer. I think it's the wounded healer that gets me every time.
Yeah,
I just root for an underdog.
The poor centaur that can never heal from his wound.
It's just not fair.
No.
It's especially not fair for planetoids, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like a dwarf planet. It's basically the same size as Pluto.
Which is rude. And I remember being in high school when they revoked Pluto's status, and I made like a t-shirt about it. Like I don't know why that was my first political issue that I was really hot to trot on, was them taking Pluto away from me.
It just felt really unfair and wrong. But now that I've kind of studied it, it does, I guess it makes sense. Like, at this point, I felt like, maybe Pluto could have been grandfathered in.
Yeah.
But there's a lot, like Chiron and many other planets, or dwarf planets, there's a lot that are of the same size and kind of category as Pluto. So in order to include Pluto, you kind of have to include all the other ones.
Yeah.
And that would be, suddenly we have like 30 planets.
Maybe that's our cosmic chit chat this time, because I know we're going to talk about embarrassing high school stories, but maybe we can do that next time.
Yeah, let's do that next time.
Ash, tell me a little bit more about planetoids then.
Yeah, so they're dwarf planets. So they're not asteroids. They are, because asteroids tend to follow very specific orbiting patterns. They, get sucked into the asteroid belt, or they can sometimes just be, in different pockets of space. But planetoids are a little bit bigger than asteroids. They are
like a little bit bigger, or like
significantly bigger.
Okay.
So asteroids, for instance, might be closer to the size of like, a portion of the moon, whereas planetoids are going to be multiple moon sizes.
Like a Jupiter's Titan, or like an Earth's moon type of planetoid size.
It depends. Yeah. So Pluto, I believe I'd have to look up exactly the size of Pluto in comparison to the moon. And I think I'm going to actually do that while we're sitting here. Because I know that's the same size as Chiron. So let's find out.
Pluto and Chiron are the same size.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know off the top of your head, while you're looking that up, where Chiron is? Is it in the asteroid belt?
No, it's between Saturn and Uranus.
Really?
Yep.
So she's out there.
Yep.
She's spinning on her own.
Chiron is out there. It's not stuck in any other planet's orbital field. It is its own thing.
See, this is why I just think we should raise them all up.
Okay, so Pluto is actually 2/3 the size of Earth's moon. So I was wrong about that.
It's smaller than our moon.
It's smaller than the moon. So again, that's like another reason why it's like, okay, well, maybe.
Oh, I see now.
It creates a lot of debate, because then if you're including that, think of all the things you have to include. But moons wouldn't get classified ever as planets because they are in the orbit of another body.
Right. And I don't know about Chiron, but Pluto has 2 moons, right?
Pluto?
Well, now I'm on Google too.
Sorry, I'm on Google because I'm a bad astrology student. Pluto actually has 5 moons.
5 moons, see? And and they have cool underworld names too.
Yeah, Charon, which is its biggest moon, is half the size of it, which is wild. Like, imagine having a moon that's half the size of your planet.
Why don't they orbit each other? Like, that would be
dual planets. It's just
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is smaller, and then its other moons are Nix, Hydra, Kerberos, and Styx. So it's all these like Hades underworld names. But Pluto is considered a dwarf planet, and I just want to see what the size of Chiron is now.
And
Chiron is known as 2060 Chiron. It's a ringed small solar system body. So Chiron has rings. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
And it was discovered in 1977. And it's a member of a new class of objects known as centaurs. So there's a bunch of dwarf planets that are also named after centaurs from Greek mythology.
This is crazy cool.
Yeah. So they're between the asteroid belt and the Kuiper belt, which is, around the Saturn Uranus part. So it was initially classified as an asteroid, but that was later revoked because it's not. So now it's a dwarf planet, and it does actually sometimes get associated with comets because it does have some behavior that is typical to a comet. But it's technically a dwarf planet, but it kind of is an overlap of comets as well.
And I've got the other dwarf planets for you here.
Okay.
We have Ceres, which is in the asteroid belt. And I know about that from the show. Oh, God. Now the show The Expanse. If you haven't watched that, you'd love it.
Okay.
Pluto, obviously. Haumea, Makemake, and Eris.
Makemake.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of that. That's interesting.
We should do a deep dive on all of these at some point. This is so cool. And yeah, it looks like Eris is a little bit bigger than Pluto, but the rest of them are much smaller. And Haumea, oh my God, should probably test this before we go live on the podcast, is an elliptical shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, very neat.
So one more fact about Chiron that I found. So Chiron likely came from the Kuiper belt, which was a belt of asteroids.
Mm-hmm.
So it used to probably be an asteroid. And eventually it's going to become a short period comet like Halley's Comet.
Really? Because it'll fall out of its orbit?
Yeah, in about 1 million years. So
we got to come back for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's be reborn for that.
Yeah, my next return.
You're going to wait 1 million years.
And walk 1 million miles.
Yeah.
Oh,
there's Momo.
Momo's made it. Momo has decreed that I will be back to watch the comet known as Chiron.
Yeah, Chiron will become a comet eventually. So that's cool.
How you doing, Momo? You ready for us to jump into the astrology of the week?
Yeah, we've all learned about Chiron today.
Yeah, he's going to destroy something. So let's move on to the forecast.
All righty. So this week on Monday, January 13th, we have the sun trining Uranus at 3:13 a.m. This is great for generating new ideas, thinking outside the box, and kind of coming at things from a fresh perspective. So it can also help with confidence to be unique and to stand out in the world.
Love it.
We also have the full moon in Cancer happening on Monday at 5:26 p.m. Eastern Time. Full moon in Cancer is really wonderful for emotions, for intuition, developing intuition, and kind of like paying more attention to signs and symbols around you. And
I love
also
that one.
Yeah, for like opening up the heart, feeling more love and compassion for the people in your life. So great moon for that. Emotions could run high for some people just because Cancer is an emotional sign. So to have a full moon there could mean there's some tears happening.
Oh, okay.
But that's not really a problem. Like you got to let it flow sometimes.
You gotta let it flow, especially if it sounds like a normal, nice. Jeez.
Momo.
Literally.
He's got a case of the full moon already.
It's in him.
Look at it.
There's a where Momo behind us.
Okay. So then on Tuesday, the 14th, Venus is squaring Jupiter at 2:47 p.m. And this can make us really want to spend some money. We want to like go out and get nice things.
Okay.
We want to experience the taste of luxury.
Hope people have those gift cards left over from the holidays ready to go on this day.
Yeah,
What is
he's
happening?
climbing the blinds at this point.
This things he's never done before. I need to let you know. Like
He's knocking over the
you
pillow.
don't need to be there. Oh my God.
So for anyone who's listening and not watching, Momo is currently sitting in the window and is pawing at the blind.
Just
behind tie.
New behaviors. I'm going to back up a little bit. Just new behaviors happen while the cameras come out. So
Look at him.
Can you just? He's so heavy. There's not much you can do about it.
You can't push him with one hand. It's not going to work.
No, he just wants pets now.
Okay.
Sorry, Ash.
That's okay. I'll keep talking about Venus. So Venus square Jupiter, yeah. So you might be a little spendy. You might, go out for lunch and decide, oh, I'm going to get like a couple appetizers and a dessert. Like I want to live large today.
Like Momo.
Yeah, Momo is always living large.
Yeah.
And you might also find that you have a lot of love to give, a lot of affection. There's a lot of like need to express that as well. On Wednesday, the 15th, the sun is opposing Mars at 9:38 p.m. and Mars is retrograde, as we know.
Right.
So this could be very depleting. We could feel like our energy levels are not kind of in agreement with the things we want to do. Like there's a lot that we want to tackle, a lot we want to get done. And Mars is like, nope, sorry. Like you can't. You got to go home and take a nap. Or you got to
multiple naps a day.
Yeah.
Like last episode.
Thankfully, I'm out of that because of Mars has moved out of my sign. But, you might just feel also a little aggravated. This could make people annoyed because it feels like progress is stopping. Something's like halting you, which could make some people very temperamental.
That's a trigger for me, for sure.
Aries hate that.
Yeah. Why aren't we standing in lines, waiting in general, not understanding why stuff isn't moving forward? Like, those are my moments that I have to work on for myself.
All the Aries I know, yeah, they really hate traffic, lines, just anything that is going to slow the progress. Like if the line is moving steadily, like they can deal with it. But if it's not, God help you.
If I can't find the reason why,
yeah,
man, sidebar, as an Aries, I came back from Florida with producer Nick's family at the beginning of December. And I went over to his house to feed his cat. And on the way back, it was just like having waited in lines at Disney for 5 days and then the early morning airport. I'm driving back on a main road and the speed limit is 60. And I'm behind this woman go in a truck that has political bumper stickers on it. And she's moving 45 and I can't handle it. I'm watching the line of traffic grow behind me. And so I passed her and I laid on the horn and she starts honking back at me and I'm side by side with her and now in the wrong lane. And I just wanted her to know how upset she made me. So I honk I'm just laying on it to the point where she finally looks at me and I gave her a thumbs down and I passed her. I just wanted her to know that
that's so much worse than flipping someone off. It's like, I'm disappointed in you.
I am. Yeah.
Wow.
No, thumbs down driving behavior.
That is hilarious. That's so Aries. Jay, my boyfriend, who's also an Aries, told me this really funny story that was like that. It was funny because this is back when I had first like met him at work. We, weren't dating. Like I didn't know him that well. I didn't even know his sign yet. And this is the moment where I was like, "Are you an Aries?" And he was like, "Yeah." Because he said one time he held down the horn for so long that it stopped physically being able to make sound. Like he held it down.
I love him
until
for that.
It couldn't go any longer. I'm like,
ran out of air.
I was like, "Are you an Aries?" And he's like, "Yeah."
That's right. And I respect him for that scientific discovery that horns can stop.
They can stop.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like a polite like,
"Hey, just wanted to let you know that you're drifting a little bit."
Yeah.
No, I'm like, I want you to know that you've disappointed me.
You have disappointed.
And the line behind you is your fault.
Yeah.
Move along.
Wow.
Sorry.
No, that's hilarious. I love it. So Friday the 17th, the sun is sextile Neptune at 6:19 a.m. This is great for imagination, fantasy, good for like brainstorming, really neat events, like, just our ideas for like creative projects.
Yes.
And it's really great for being able to think outside the box, but look at things from like a very compassionate and open-minded perspective. On Saturday, the 18th, we have the sun sextile the North Node. If you remember last week, the North Node moved into Pisces.
Right.
At 6:26 p.m. This is the sextile that's happening. This is really great for new opportunities. It might help you to feel more ready to make a change or to take a risk.
With those fresh nodes.
Yeah, fresh nodes. So especially if you are a Pisces or if you're a Virgo or like our community manager, Erin, who is a Pisces with a Virgo moon, like you're really going to be feeling it. This might be a good
This is her time
to take a risk, try something new. Also on Saturday, Venus is conjunct Saturn at 8:26 p.m. This is good for like helping other people, being responsible, kind of like stepping up and taking care of a duty to make somebody else's life easier.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also good for like buckling down on creative projects, like kind of being a little more strict with yourself, but in a way that's going to better the process.
Okay, note to producer Nick that the end of this week is when we need to get together for those brainstorm sessions.
Yes, that's very true.
Rolling his eyes again. Sorry.
There's a grand trine that's also happening on Saturday, the 18th. The trine is involving the moon, Uranus, and the sun and Pluto. So this is a really nice, lucky energy to...
Sorry.
That's okay.
It's Scout.
Yeah, we've got a lot of animal activity this time.
He needs to work through his moment right here.
Yeah, so the grand trine is going to be very helpful for thinking outside the box, like we were saying. Finally, on the 19th, there's a lot happening. There's 3 transits. Mercury is sextile Saturn at 2:38 a.m. So this is also kind of feeding into what we had yesterday with that Venus conjunct Saturn, because later in the day, Mercury will also sextile Venus. So it's kind of meeting up with both of those today.
It's a big old clump.
Yeah, big old clump. So at 2:38 a.m., it's sextile Saturn. At 11:31 a.m., it's sextiling Venus. So this is allowing us to communicate more about those ideas, like those creative visions that we were having, or like really like committing ourselves to making a plan. Now we can start to communicate it. We can really allow those ideas to flow in that mercurial fashion.
I love that.
And then at 3 p.m., the sun is entering Aquarius. We are officially in Aquarius season as of the 19th. And we're going to talk a lot about Aquarius next week. Just because this is the last day of the week, I thought it would be better to do it so it's fresh for
totally.
next time.
It sounds like a lot's happening this week to focus on anyway.
Exactly. So yeah, we'll do a big spotlight on Aquarians next week, and we'll get into all of that magic.
Cool. Ready to dive into my terrestrial TikTok, or not TikTok, terrestrial chit chat.
TikTok.
R.I.P. TikTok.
Oh God.
I hope it stays. But yes, today we're going to be talking about specifically American secret societies.
Okay.
So this kind of like, ever since we did the Mark Twain episode and I learned that he was in the Skull and Bone Society, I just was itching to learn a little bit more.
Secret society.
And I love that Illuminati stuff. So I just wanted to go down that. So I picked 3, I'm not going to say top, like you can rate them, but 3 prominent secret societies that I didn't know anything about beforehand. A little bit about the last one, but like no details. So are there any groups that you know about in the US that are secret societies, fraternal orders, or even maternal orders, if you know any of them, that are like specifically female based?
Well, like Eastern Star.
That's the only one I know of.
Yeah. There's a lot associated with like universities, right?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, there's Skull and Bones.
We're gonna do Skull and Bones.
Yeah. Okay. I'm blanking. I'm really blanking.
That's fine.
I know that I have heard of many, but calling them to mind is not happening
There's
right now.
going to be plenty more episodes we can do about this too. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the Knights of Pythias, which I'd never heard of before. They seem pretty prominent. So they were founded in, I'm just going to do fast facts for each one of these. Otherwise, we're going to be here all day.
We can deep dive later.
It's perfect. So founded by Justice Rathbone.
What a name.
Justice. Yeah.
Justice Rathbone.
Can you imagine?
Wow.
That's a D&D name.
Yeah,
I'm stealing it. So it was recognized as the first official fraternal order by the U.S. Congress. So that's where its claim to fame comes from. And it's been around since February 19th, 1864. Abraham Lincoln learned of their secret rituals and said, "The purposes of this organization are most wonderful. If we could but bring its spirit to all of our citizenry, what a wonderful thing it would be. It breathes the spirit of friendship, charity, and benevolence in its acts." So how bad could it be, right?
It's clearly supported by Honest Abe.
Yep. Their symbol is a sword, and their pillars are friendship, clarity, and benevolence.
Okay,
I love
that.
that.
Nice.
Yeah. Each lodge is called a castle, and the ranks within each castle are page, esquire, and knight.
That sounds very tarot of them.
Yeah, I was going back to Camelot, I would have loved, this feels fun for me. This is a fun one.
There's nothing like weird lingering, like that you're about to drop a butt on me, right? Like
the butt is that up until 1875, you had to be a male in good health. They would not allow people who were sickly or othered in any way to join. But seems like they've changed their mind on that a little bit.
So if like one of their members gets sick,
you gotta go.
You're bye.
You gotta go. Pay your dues and get out of here.
Oh my God.
But flip side, the reason why they needed people in good health is because they were devoted towards philanthropy and like running camps for underprivileged youth, disaster relief, and now they do scholarships and blood drives. So they needed able-bodied men, and now they're trying to like, let's, as long as you got a good heart, pay your dues.
That's way better.
Notable members include Louis Armstrong, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and Nelson Rockefeller.
Oh, okay.
I had no idea.
Yeah, me neither.
Next up, we've got the Skull and Bones, which is a student organization from Yale.
Yep.
It was one of 3 big organizations, including the Scroll and Key, which sounds fun.
Yes.
And also the Wolf's Head.
Okay, I love this.
I didn't have time to do this
Have
stuff
you
at
read
school.
the book The Ninth House?
No.
It's a really good fiction book. I think it's by Lee Bardugo, and it's all about like secret societies, but it's got a ghost paranormal flair to it.
Send it to me. Do you have it?
I borrowed it from are acupuncturists.
Oh, okay.
But I have been wanting to buy it because there's a sequel as well. So I'll buy both of them and you can read them.
Down. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I think you really like it.
I'm in. So Skull and Bones, they were founded at Yale in 1832, and they're also known, which I've seen this stuff out there before, and I didn't know it was associated. When you see the number 322, it's associated with the Skull and Bones, as well as the phrase "the Order" in the Brotherhood of Death.
Okay.
Yep. Obviously, their symbols include
ominous.
skull and bones, as well as the number 322, which is the year in which the Greek orator Demosthenes died. And it could also be related to an offshoot of the Freemasons at that time.
Okay.
They're known with stealing historical relics from other Yale campus buildings, including the skulls of Martin Van Buren, Geronimo, and Pancho Villa.
Okay.
And the skull stuff is also hello UPS. The skull stuff also creates rumors with the Illuminati there, and notable members of the Skull and Bones are Mark Twain, like I had mentioned before, William Taft, and both Presidents Bush.
Okay. A lot of political figures there.
Yep.
Yep.
Last one I'm going to break down real quick is the one that probably most people know of. They want to be more secret than they are, I think, but we got a firsthand view of them on Haunt Me when we did the Freemason Lodge in Portland.
Oh, we got kind of some flack about that.
We got a little bit of flack that we weren't supposed to learn as much as we did.
Yeah. Well, the historian there was very angry with us.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I mean, we were invited.
I was invited, and I'm not going to tell someone to stop telling me their secret.
No.
We didn't put them on camera, though. We were respectful, but I knows it.
Yep, we know some things.
Oh, man. It was fun.
Did they ask you to join?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, and they asked Sean to join, too.
Yeah, I'm good, but cool to learn your secrets. Don't want to practice them.
Yeah.
So they actually were built on stonemasonry from the 14th century, and the earliest U.S. lodges were in Pennsylvania. The one that we went to was Triangle, Portland, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
A big one.
Yeah, it was huge. Each one of these places, unlike the Knights of Pathos, their meeting sites are called lodges. And when you enter them, it's broken into 3 degrees, which is apprenticed, fellow of the craft, and master mason. Their symbol is a compass with the letter G inside of it. And they describe themselves as a beautiful system of morality, veiled in allegory and illustrated by symbols.
Yeah.
I would say so from what we saw.
That seems very true.
The Catholic Church formally forbids members from being a Freemason. And in the 18th century, because it was a threat against the church itself, because people were joining non-church groups, the Vatican declared it a synagogue of Satan.
That's so dramatic.
So dramatic. Calm down, Catholicism. And then prominent historical Freemasons include Henry Ford, J. Edgar Hoover, Arnold Palmer, and our natal chart of today, which is January 17th, 1706, Boston, Massachusetts, 10:30 a.m.
Okay. I didn't have a time for this. I wasn't given a time.
Okay,
so.
the time is the estimate. I know we weren't supposed to.
Okay.
Producer Nick said, "Don't say the time unless you're certain." So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't factor in the time, but there's still plenty of stuff to talk about here.
That's fine. The time's a question mark because we were in the Puritan ages.
Yeah, right. I even had to use a different app to generate this chart
because it's so old.
Yeah. So with this chart, this person has their sun in Capricorn and they have their moon in Pisces. So the first thing that I noticed, hold on, I'm just trying to make this go to my next page of my presentation. So they have Mercury square Saturn in their chart, which would suggest that they're a perfectionist. This is somebody who really cares about how they come off.
Okay.
And they're going to be really particular about how things are done, things are communicated. There could be, I mean, it's interesting that they're in a secret society. This would lead me to believe that there's some holding back, there's some restriction in their communication.
Okay.
This is not a person who's super open or like chatty or talkative. Like
I think not so much chatty, but because they're busy. Does that make sense?
That could definitely make sense. Their Mercury is in Aquarius, so their mind's always moving. They're always thinking of new things, but they're not necessarily communicating all of that. Let's see. The sun is in Capricorn and it's opposing Jupiter in Cancer. So they did have a very big personality. There's a lot, like, despite the fact that they're, a little bit closed off, like they're still well known. There's still like a big aura around this person. And their reputation kind of precedes them. Like, even if they weren't, like, I mean, clearly they're well known or we wouldn't be doing their chart. But even if they were just like a regular person, there would be some kind of like aura around them. Like, how there's certain like local celebrities,
Yes.
it would be like that, even though I'm assuming they're at least more well known or we wouldn't be talking about them.
This is a celebrity back when people cared about smarts and the mind. They were well renowned because they were so intelligent.
Okay.
Not like vapid TikTok dances type of thing. This person was so smart that ladies swooned over his presence.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about that Mercury. So Mercury is retrograde in Aquarius. So this is somebody who doesn't think like the average person. People with Mercury retrograde, they tend to be slightly misunderstood and they are usually very intelligent, but there might be some like difficulty in expressing that, or like other people might be like too slow to understand. Does that resonate?
It does. They kind of seem like they just went off on their own.
Because it just feels like they are maybe a step ahead. Like their brain is a step ahead where like society is.
Yeah, I think so too, because they worked with politicians, but I think kind of despise politics, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because Mercury's in Aquarius, they think for themselves. They're not following just what the grain is. Is there something weird about their health? Or like, were they motivated to heal others? Is there something to do with medicine or their health?
Let me look here.
Because Mars is conjunct Chiron, and typically you see that when somebody has to deal with like a chronic illness or chronic pain, or if they are motivated to be a healer to other people.
I think that he wanted, obviously, to make people's lives better, and chronically suffered from bladder stones and gout, which sounds very much like the time period.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure that we could draw from any random charts in the 1700s and that might be a thing.
Everyone's slowly dying.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess
but maybe, I think that they wanted to heal other people, especially mentally, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So Mars conjunct Chiron would make you really want to, better people's lives.
That's what he wanted to do, not really specifically medically.
Yeah. Okay. So finding ways that are maybe bigger than that, like bigger than just the body, to like, rather than let me like put a Band-Aid on you, it's like, let me figure out why this happened so it never happens again.
That's this person.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's more of what we're seeing here. So that's the main stuff that I saw. That was all like the really like big things in the chart. Are there any things that you're personally like wondering about, knowing what you know about them?
Absolutely. And I'm going to throw a lot at you. So if you could stop me and connect it to the chart, that would be great.
Okay.
Because I've had to very much limit what I shared about this person because they were always doing stuff. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is Ben Franklin.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I learned so much about Ben Franklin on this deep dive. So
I didn't even know his sign. I didn't even know he was a Capricorn. That kind of makes sense.
He couldn't be stopped is what I learned from doing this. So celestially, it seems that adds up.
Yeah.
He was always thinking ahead of the curb. And when people would tell him no, he'd be like, that's cute. Here's how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So Ben Franklin is a renowned Freemason, which ties him into our topic this week. But he's also a jack of all trades. There really wasn't much he didn't do. He was known as an inventor, a writer, a philosopher, also a political diplomat, and he helped our founding fathers draft the Declaration of Independence, but didn't want to be involved in politics. Like he was more a mouthpiece and an idea guy.
Yep.
He was also the first postmaster general.
Oh, wow.
He founded the first public library and also created the lightning rod.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. He is attributed to a lot of different inventions for sure.
He was. He was also, for those Bridgerton fans out there, he was the first Lady Whistledown. He as a child, wanted to be a leader among his friend group. And though he was smart as a whip, his family funds only allowed him to attend Boston Latin School for 2 years, and he didn't graduate. So he had barely any schooling there. So instead, he apprenticed his brother in a print shop at age 12. And at age 15, he was denied the ability to publish letters in the paper. So he created the pseudonym Silence Dogwood and began to write about the town, his ideas, and people's happenings, including philosophy and criticisms of the government in that periodical under the pseudonym of a 15-year-old.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
So I thought that was pretty cool. Silence Dogwood is such a cool.
That's like up there with Justice Rathbone.
That's right.
Yeah.
We really got to get away from apologies to the Beckys and the Jasons out there, but we got to get back to the Silence Dogwoods and the Justice Rathbones.
Yeah. I'm very interested in doing like genealogy and family trees. And so I found some really interesting ones. Like back in the 1800s, there was some just weird stuff going on. Like there was somebody in my family named like Mahitable Atwood.
That's amazing.
You know,
you're not going to find that on one of the license plates at like a gift store.
Yeah,
but
nobody is naming babies after like the virtues anymore, I guess. Well, maybe some, but joy.
Joy. That's right. Prudence.
Yeah.
Virtue.
Yeah, that's a little puritanical, but there's definitely.
Yeah, we don't need puritanical names. I want some witch names.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Justice Rathbone is just that.
So
amazing. I'm here for it.
So he some other. Oh, excuse me. Starting over from a stroke in 3. He was really never settled. Is I think one thing that I kind of want to point. Or
restless
that I got from that chart.
I have noticed since you started talking that Uranus is unaspected in his birth chart, and he has Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus. So there's this element of a brain that is so far advanced and always moving, but there's just a restlessness that would follow him through life.
Yep. I think that's why you continue on to invent such things as bifocals, swim fins, the catheter. Oh, so I guess there's some healing there.
Yeah, catheter?
Yep.
Yeah.
Needed to do that.
Yeah.
And also I found a clip for this that I'm going to play for you. Have you heard the glass harmonica before?
No.
So he invented, again, he's across all these different disciplines. Like he can create bifocals, swim paraphernalia, medical equipment, and then thinks instruments are kind of hard and he wants to make his own. So he creates the glass harmonica, which is a rotating series of glass cups, basically, because you know how like when you have crystal and you get water and you can make that sound?
Make it sing.
He made an instrument out of that, connected all these different glass plates together, has water sprinkled on this rotating device, and then you kind of play it like a harmonic piano.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, let's cut to this clip really quick. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you can see the glass harmonica play. For the rest of you, you'll be able to hear this really interesting sound. Isn't that nice?
It's so much bigger than I thought it would be.
It's huge.
When you said harmonica, I pictured like the size of a modern harmonica.
Ben Franklin's not going to make anything small.
No.
Also, we're watching this video of this guy playing it like a champion.
Yeah.
Imagine that's your niche.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm sure there's not many glass harmonica players in the world.
There can't be, especially because like that thing was old and fragile.
Yeah, you can't just be letting just anyone touch it.
But it was a hit.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's really pretty.
Yeah,
I like
Ben
it.
Franklin invented music too.
Okay. Yeah.
So other cool facts about Ben Franklin, since I know we're low on time, but he was just a cool guy, especially from his astro chart with being like, do what you want. You'll never be settled.
Yep.
So he stood out among his peers as a teenager. Again, this is the 1700s, right? Because he adopted vegetarianism.
Wow. That must have been so difficult in that era.
Yeah, he didn't stick with vegetarianism because it wasn't sustainable. Like,
Yeah.
he got sick.
It's not like he couldn't just pop down for a nice gummy multivitamin, you know?
No, I think it's really just root vegetables all year long for a long time at that point.
It's probably hard to get like beans and protein and I mean, just being vegetarian in the early 2000s, like I could barely make it work.
I dipped in with you every once in a while, but there's a limit to the amount of black bean burgers that one human being can consume. Like,
yeah, like I used to just be able to get those and the little mini like
corn.
vegan corn dogs.
Which I love the corn. You're the one who turned me on to corn.
the corn nuggets?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So like I'm a weak vegetarian now because man, I fall when you show me a chicken tendy, I fall to it. But like the products are so much better in the past 20 years that I can't even imagine 1704.
No, I commend him for even trying.
Yeah, even coming up with the idea. You know,
Yeah.
like it being feasible in your mind. But he's an ideas guy.
Yeah.
Who also became irritated with the English language and invented his own phonetic alphabet.
Wow. Look at this guy go.
Right?
What didn't he do?
He was also a fashion icon in France specifically.
What?
And wigs were created based off of his signature look, and they were called the coif. I can't pronounce French. I'm so sorry. Coif de la a la Franklin. So
Coif de la Franklin?
Yeah, a la or whatever. Yeah. So it's a Franklin wig.
Wow.
And then in his final years of his life, he spent them as an avid abolitionist. So this guy was just goals, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, what a life. He packed in so much. When did he die?
Ben Franklin died in, let me see here.
I'm just curious how old he lived to be.
He was 84.
Okay, so that's a very full life for back then.
So he died in 1790 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And it said that he died of complications from pleurisy.
Okay.
So the gout didn't come and get him at the end, but some old 1700s crap.
Yeah, pleurisy is not something you hear nowadays. It's definitely a 1700s thing.
Definitely.
Or at least the terminology is.
Well, he outsmarted the alphabet, but couldn't beat death. So
yeah, I mean, it comes for everyone, unfortunately.
Even Ben Franklin.
I know.
But that's what I have for you today, Ash.
Yep. Now he lives on the $100 bill. You know?
And the glass harmonica.
Yeah.
The tunes of very few places anywhere. But if you can hear one, I definitely suggest seeing it live. That'd be so cool to
that would be cool. It's very relaxing.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, thanks, Ash.
Thank you, Ty. That was very interesting.
And next week, we have something special. We're teaming up again for another unique episode because it was a topic that was too big to be handled by just one of us.
Yes, it's a wild card episode, and we're going to do a spotlight on Aquarius season as well.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
All right. Have a great week, everybody.
Unclouded Eye stars Ashley Brooks and Ty Gowan. It is produced and directed by Nick Nordfors. The music is by Ashley Jane Cecilia and Jay Caron, and our community manager is Erin Cross. The art for the show is done by Dawn Aquarius, and it's presented by Haunt Me Official on YouTube. You can also follow the Unclouded Eye on Instagram and TikTok at Unclouded Eye and Patreon on Unclouded_Eye. This week, we want to shout out Erica Amelia and Heidi Sanchez for being Patreons of the program. We couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you so much.